Thank you everybody for joining us today at Keller Covered's Mastermind webinar. I'm Desmond Milvenin and I'm the agent driver for Keller Covered. So I know some of you are saying, well, what does that mean? I'm a longtime agent with the mothership Market Center #1 in the Austin area. And I have the privilege of talking to other agents about this awesome opportunity. What a great role to tell people about a no-brainer. I mean, it makes it so much fun. So for those of you who are hearing about Keller Covered for the very first time today, this is another gift from Gary and John Keller to us that helps us not only cement those relationships by giving something of value, but to kind of change the conversation from, hey, do you want to buy or sell a house, to I can help you. I can help you save money. Keller Covered's a one-stop shop where you can compare homeowners insurance from top carriers in like 7 steps. So think of a Kayak or Expedia for homeowners insurance. So this is a way for you, your clients, your friends, your families to save up to 30%. I think we had one that was actually even higher than that. So I would really encourage you to give it a try personally today. And we're going to put on the chat how you can do that. So we created something called Kacey's Corner. And we did that so that we as agents can constantly have education and unique ways and strategies to implement a lot of these great tools like Keller Covered into our business. So if you'd like a little more information and some other cool videos, go ahead and join our Keller Covered Mastermind Facebook page. And I think we're going to put an URL for that also in the chat. So we're super excited about today. Today's webinar is going to be moderated by Kevin Schwarz. Kevin is an agent from Pittsburgh who is our team tech advisor and trainer. And we are also thrilled to have 2 top producing agents as our guest speakers, who both of them really think outside the box. And they're always looking for real innovative ways and tools to grow their business. So first of all, we have Kimberlee Meserve, who I found this fascinating. She moved to Boston in 2018 without knowing a soul. And she has built her very successful business by recruiting first-time home buyers. I don't know if you all were at Mega Camp, but she was interviewed by Gary during the top agent interviews. And she also had a great breakout session on new solutions for virtual lead generation. So if you haven't had a chance to go back and look at that, I would encourage you to. So she's going to be sharing tips on how to attract those first-time home buyers with us. We are also very, very excited to have Mike Duley today. Mike built his business to become the #1 team in Arkansas, as well as within the top 100 teams in KW in just 4 years. Mike is a master at utilizing a variety of KW tools to attract and retain agents, buyers, sellers, and talent. So thank you, Kimberlee and Mike, for sharing these tips with us. Our takeaway for the webinar for you is to have at least one thing that you can take and implement in your business. I think we end at 1:45. At 1:46, you can put this into place and start getting extra business right away. So again, thank you for being here. Take it away, Kevin.
Thank you, Desmond, for the fantastic introduction. I really appreciate that. So like you said, I mean, you gave me a great segue to jump right in with Mike and Kimberlee. Our main objective with these calls is we want you guys to walk away with some actionable items, just like Desmond said, so that you can go and take those things away and put them into your business today. We all know, obviously now more than ever, it's a big time to emphasize on lead generation. And there's lots of different ways that we can lead generate. Kimberlee and Mike both have very different ways of how they obtain clients. But the one thing that's common in everyone we ever have on these calls is really focusing on lead generation. I want to start with Kimberlee real quick. You know, in our preparation conversations, we talked about kind of what your business looks like, what you're doing. I would love to hear, if you don't mind, giving us some background in terms of, you know, Desmond mentioned you moved into Boston from Maine, you built this business up from the ground, and I'd love to hear more about your Buyers and Brews seminar. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, well, first, thank you, Desmond. That was such a nice introduction. So I appreciate it. Yeah, so just a quick story into my background. I've been an agent for 5 years now. I got started in Southern Maine, and then in 2018, I moved to Boston. I didn't know anybody at all. At that time, I was on a team, and I was like, they were testing the waters with expansion, and I was an expansion partner for them. So they did a lot of pay-per-click lead generation, and they were like, listen, we'll pay for some leads for you, but a lot of that stuff can take a little bit longer to come to fruition. And so they were like, you're going to have to get some of your own business too. So in July of 2018, so about a month before I moved, my lender partner and I started doing first-time homebuyer workshops. And I saw a big opportunity for them in the Boston area, especially where we have such high prices, because a lot of buyers they look at the prices, they look on Zillow or whatever, they're thinking about maybe buying a house, and they're like, I can't afford to do this. So that's been a big foundation of our education is, listen, if you're paying rent and you're paying this much in rent, because we also happen to be the third most expensive rental market in the entire country, if you can pay that for rent, you can pay a mortgage payment too. So it's just been an educational process, teaching buyers, you know, how to get started, what are the financing programs available to you. And over time, it's really built up to be my main source of business.
That's fantastic. So I just, with the Boston market, the first thing, like you said, comes up to affordability. Just being able to afford getting into that property can be difficult in a market like that. What would you say is the biggest takeaway from those now they're calls, but from your seminars? What do you think is the biggest takeaway that they're learning in those calls as far as being a first-time home buyer?
Yeah, I would say for most clients, it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's not as daunting as I thought to get started. There's a lot of misperceptions around needing to have 20% down, needing to have a ton, like 20% on a $600,000 house is $120,000. Most first-time home buyers don't have that. But we have a lot of low down payment programs. And so I think for them, just learning the costs involved, what they need to do to get started is the biggest catalyst to them taking their first step in the process.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I know when we talked about kind of in preparation for this, we talked about what your seminars look like and some of the ways you can be integrating. Keller Covered's a fairly new product for those of you guys who aren't familiar with it. But have you been able to kind of integrate that into your conversation, even with some of your existing clients or people that you're under contract with?
Yeah, so I actually have gone through the Keller Covered process myself, and it saved me some money, which I thought was really cool. And I just kind of was like, well, I'm going to test dummy this myself before I recommend it to people. But there's a really big opportunity, especially with first-time buyers. You know, most of them are probably renting. There are a handful that are probably still living with their parents, but if they're renting, there's an opportunity for them to save money on their renter's insurance, which can then be put towards their down payment funds when they're in that savings mode. So we're integrating that into a lot of our follow-up plans, especially when we're identifying that someone might be a little bit further off in the process. And then the other opportunity is if someone's, you know, where we are in such an expensive market, they might have a budget, but they might not be able to get much for their budget. So they might really be stretching themselves to the top. And the opportunity to save money by lowering their insurance cost, because a lot of buyers don't realize what the PITA is. They just see the monthly mortgage payment, and they don't realize that, you know, a percentage of that is actually towards your mortgage. The rest is taxes and insurance. So there's an opportunity to help them there by giving them some savings.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that. I've got a client that is I just got the Alta in today, and it's funny looking at that because there's only so many things that you can actually manipulate to lower your actual cost. If you're buying at this house, there's only so many things that you can do to change that. One, a plug for Keller Mortgage is if you can get a good low rate, you can get your $1,000 credit at closing. If you can lower the interest rate, but we don't really have any control over that. The only thing that you could really shop around is that homeowner's insurance. And so from an affordability standpoint, especially in a market like Boston, every little dollar counts. And so it's nice to be able to have a tool like that you can lower those prices. So you mentioned something. Go ahead.
I was just going to add to that and say, I had a very similar situation recently with a client. They have been having a very hard time getting an offer accepted because they're FHA buyers, and they could qualify for conventional, but it would just make their mortgage insurance so expensive because their credit isn't great. And so they've been kind of pigeonholed into having to use an FHA loan, which has made it incredibly difficult for them to get an offer accepted in the market that we're in, because we are in one of the most competitive markets in the entire country right now in Boston. And so they did finally find a house that was like sitting on the market a little bit overpriced. And we got into the negotiation, and because the house had been recently totally flipped, the taxes weren't correct. And so the lender had run the numbers at first, and they were like, okay, yep, mortgage payment looks great. Like, we can afford that in our budget. And then there was a moment of the lender being like, oh, wait, like the taxes are going to change because it hasn't been reassessed. And that changed their monthly payment significantly. And those buyers were in a position of like, we don't know if this is going to work.
Right. But if you can help them save a little bit of money, that you're allowing them to get into that house. And that just brings up, right, the whole concept of first-time home buyers. We had talked about, and this is a conversation that Desmond and I talk about, is that sometimes people don't know whether or not they can actually get into the house. And that's where those first-time home buyer seminars that you're doing, it's a great way for people to say, like, they might have thought, like, I'm not actually ready to buy a house in their head. And then after sitting down with you, they're able to, or really any of you guys who are listening to this, you've just done a fantastic job, Kimberlee, at rolling this out. But there's no reason why someone on Mike's team, or I could do a first-time home buyer seminar. So anybody could implement this into their business. But so during those seminars, you have the ability to educate them, and they might not think that they're ready. But by educating them, you can find out, hey, I didn't have to save as much money. Maybe I was right on the edge, and I don't have to save as much money because I am actually at that point where I can buy. Or they might be able to buy something, not that it's going to make or break their entire situation, but like I said before, everything adds up. It really counts.
Yeah, it really does. And I think a lot of agents, they tend to be very nervous of feeling like they're selling someone, especially new agents. And our job is not to sell people on anything. We're just providing value. And our whole philosophy on my team is that we're providing value through education, because that's what I'm really passionate about. And so when we're teaching them and we're giving them this information, and then coming back with value even more to be like, hey, you talk to XYZ insurance person. Well, what if I can get you even more of a savings? They're becoming clients for life. And Gary tells us that about 78% of buyers will work with the first agent that they meet. So if we're coming to them by giving them all this value before we're asking for anything, it then becomes one of the easiest transactions.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point. And you mentioned the fact that reconnecting with them in terms of affordability. One of the other ways that we found that would be a great way to utilize this tool is just reconnecting. Like you said, reconnecting with past clients, reconnecting with just some of the people in your database. Well, okay, I may or may not, I intend to be in real estate for a very long time until I'm at the point where I'm financially stable and I can move on to retirement. But I don't intend to get out of this business anytime soon. So I don't care if you're going to buy a house in a year, 5 years, you're going to be my client. And so if I have something where I can help you save money today, no, you might not be buying a house from me, but I can help you save money off of I might be able to save you $1,200 this year on your homeowner's insurance. Well, that person's going to talk about me, and that opens the opportunity for referrals. It opens the opportunity for winning that client for life, just like you said. So I think that's a great point. You mentioned something earlier about follow-up plans. I know one of the tools that a lot of agents here can use, most of them being from Keller Williams, is the fact of utilizing smart plans. I'm going to give you guys a little teaser. That's actually what we're going to be talking about next month, is diving into smart plans. But can you tell me a little bit about your follow-up? Like, what's the follow-up communication, whether or not you're using smart plans? What's the communication? Let's talk more about the dialogue.
Yeah, so everything, throughout the seminar, and I think a lot of people miss this point, we're constantly setting them up for the idea that the next step is an appointment, regardless of if they're ready to get going today or if they're looking to buy in 12 months. I always want to get into a relationship with people as soon as possible so that I can nurture that relationship. And it's just a mindset too, like they feel committed to me as well. I've had a ton of clients that I met 2 years ago and they're just buying now, but we've stayed in touch the entire time. So, a lot of that follow-up is like, hey, can we get you started on a preliminary search? And we're telling buyers, like, you might not be ready to go out right now and start looking at properties and putting offers in, but we're going to get you set up on a search and we're going to talk about what you're looking for so that, you can see what properties are coming on the market for, what they're selling for. And by the time you are ready to buy, you're now going to be one of the most educated buyers out there. So that's a lot of our follow-up. Is just getting them into that appointment so that we can start dripping properties on them. But in addition to that, we've been integrating into our smart plan. So we have kind of just a version of like a 10 days of pain. It's a pretty simple buyer follow-up. We've just edited some of the scripting a little bit so that it's not, hey, you searched on my site. It's, hey, you attended our event, but nothing that's really rocket science. And then just adding in a couple touches of like, hey, check out this tool. It might be able to help you save some money. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, no, I like that. So as we roll into, it's October 2020 right now, most of us, if not all of us, should be planning for 2021. It's the perfect time of year for business planning clinics. If you aren't doing that, I'm sure local leadership is or will be. What are you doing right now in your business? What are you focusing on right now? Areas that you'd like to roll into as far as utilizing a tool like this, or obviously in the heels of recent communication, there's lots of different channels that Keller Williams is going to be rolling out or has rolled out to its agents, but specifically Keller Covered. Is there anything that you guys have in your team for 2021 that you want to expand into?
I've always been a big believer of just focusing on one thing and really mastering that. And that's how I've kind of found the success that I have in such a short time. And so, a big part of our goal for 2021 is still going to be the first time home buyer seminars. I do want to start creating some seller seminars as well. So I see a really big opportunity to just be nurturing further out sellers and getting into a relationship with them because they already own a home. And so they're paying insurance. So they might not be ready to sell, but how about you save them some money in the meantime?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I would love to see what you have to where you start going as far as the seller seminars. Obviously, that is not what we're talking about today, but I very much look forward to connecting with you in the future on what you come up with seller seminars. I know one of the things that I saw that I got from Mega Camp was actually downsizer seminars. I think there's a huge area of opportunity in that space. I know I mentioned our team here we sell here in Pittsburgh. We have a very polite way of saying we've got an aging population here in Pittsburgh. And so working in that space, I think there's a lot of opportunity. So it's great that you're starting to think ahead and you're looking to some new opportunities. Anything else that you wanna share, dive a little bit deeper into some of the things that your experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel like my whole buyer seminar has been talked about so much on so many different platforms. So I don't want to get too much into that, but I would say for anybody that's thinking about putting one together, just do it. Like, there's no secret time that works best. Like, I get these questions all the time. People are like, what time are you doing it? The only reason we're doing it the time of day that we are is because it was the cheapest time that we could get with the brewery when we used to have them in person. So there was never any like magic behind it. And what we're doing today is very different than what we did in the beginning. So just get started and approach it from a mindset of how can I provide the most value to people before I even ask for anything in return.
I just want to give a quick plug to Kimberlee. Kimberlee has a Facebook group, Keeping It Real with Kimberlee. If you guys are curious about what she does and how she's working in her business, or even some of the great books that she's reading poolside, it's a great place to connect with her. And I'm sure she'd be happy to answer just a few of your questions on there so that everybody, as opposed to a bunch of one-off questions, she can answer in a group setting. It's so much more efficient. I love that you did that, obviously coming right off of Mega Camp. I want to jump in. Kimberlee, we may come back to you a few times, but I really appreciate, thank you for pouring into us. I'm sure everyone here is very grateful for you taking some time out of your much needed R&R. So thank you again. Mike, the great Mike Duley in the lovely Arkansas. You're out in Bentonville. I have to ask, just because I saw it in my notes, before we dive into anything, Mallard Homes, did you start that?
We did, yep. He's actually on 7 remodels right now. Camden Spinks, which kind of fun, you know, like Kimberlee's got this cool group. I just have cool people that work with me that make me look cooler. But he was on The Voice. He's definitely someone to go follow. I think he got to #4 on The Voice. So whenever you pick partners, like pick people that can do multiple cool things, right? So even if we didn't have remodel homes, you know, we could sing along, or maybe start a YouTube channel. It's like, hey, my 8-year-old and my 4-year-old will tell you they don't want to hear me sing. They said, Dad, you are the worst.
So you brought somebody on who can sing.
100%. When you talk about leverage, it's in all areas of my life, right?
I love that. I have a ton of duck decoys. So when I saw Mallard, that was the first thing I was like, oh. And I know Arkansas is a big waterfowl area. So that was the first thing that came to mind.
Can I tell you a funny story on that real quick? When Kimberlee talked about just do it, I was smiling. I recommend, if you guys have not read Shoe Dog, it's one of the best business books there is. It's the story of how Nike started. And here's my quick perception of it. It's not that a Nike's so amazing, which they're a great brand and obviously been around for a long time. The aha for me as a business person and entrepreneur is that they messed up so many times, and things were done, even when they picked their logo, their name, all that things. We think as business people that this takes, all right, I'm going to have these 8 people in a room and they're going to study my logo and my name and they're going to make it great. Nike didn't even create their logo and their name like that. It's an happenstance, but they just did it. So Mallard Homes, if you look at it, me and Camden are in my conference room, and there's a neighborhood in Alabama that's like Mallard Homes Properties or something like that. And he had a duck in his shirt, and he's a hunter. I'm not a hunter, right? But I was like, it's all about you, Camden. Mallard Homes, I love it. It's beautiful. So then we just messaged my attorney. I text him, and he said it's available, and I said, done. See, there's no creativity to that. And that happened like in 7 minutes. I think a lot of times people think, oh, I need to perfect something. You don't. And here, Keller Covered, for instance, and Kevin, you gave me the mic and you're in trouble now, right? I'm just taking over. No, but I will tell you, people think,
I'll let you know when to stop you.
Our platforms, okay, I need to know how to use it. I need to know about it. No, you don't. You already know just by being on this call, one more thing than the consumer, right? And the work is all done for you. You can drive them to the website, or you can actually log into clients' information on the website for them. Here's what I say. Don't make it so complicated. And Desmond talked about it. Have a couple sound bites that you're going to use, 30% savings, right? Boom. If you just had that alone and you share to people saying, hey, I know you're about to do your 2021, people do analysis of their home. We're going to do planning. Annual renewals are coming up. So what a good time. Unfortunately, the pandemic has done some bad things, but here's some good things. You can actually pay it forward and help somebody. And really quick, if their DISC profile is to say 30% or a number. So I have a number for you. We help the client save $743. That's a number. As you know, some DISC profiles, they need to know a percentage, a number, how are they made up, right? But here's what else you need to do. Most mortgages are 30 years. So that's $24,000 in savings just by selecting the right insurance partner. Let me say that again, $24,000. Is that a really good number? So when Kimberlee's working, or anyone's working with a first-time home buyer, any client, and I can tell them, hey, by working with me, I can save you $24,000. has nothing to do with the home, nothing to do with a mortgage, and it's a way to get at the center to help the client. If you think about what Gary and John did for us, this is no other brokerage in the world can do this. We're paying it forward to clients and the people to have savings, and we get nothing from it, if you will. It's not like we're saying, hey, we're going to make a commission off this or anything. We're just helping people, right? That's our culture. That's who we are for Keller Williams. So have a couple of those sound bites that you're going to use. And I'll give you another one. If you look first-time home buyers, what do? They ask their parents, who are you using for your insurance, right? And a lot of them are going to say State Farm. As an example, though, State Farm is one company. So how do they shop prices against themselves? They can't, right? Why do you think Kayak, Priceline, all these took off? Because the consumer wanted to say, am I getting the best value? With Keller Covered, it does the work for you. You're going to know what the best value is, and you're seeing all the prices. You can't go to State Farm and then go to everyone else and say, give me your pricing sheet. What do you have? Because people need to have time back, right? So this, you save them money and time in one action.
Wow. So
I'm
there's
gonna take a deep breath, right?
I know, right? So that right there, right? These calls are not intended to sit here and be a commercial for you. Keller Covered is one of the many tools that Keller Williams has. There's lots of insurance providers out there. There's lots of ways for you and your clients to search for homeowners insurance. The first thing is go on and get a policy for yourself. Just go through the process. Whether you own a home, put a fake home in, I really don't care. But go in and go through the process and figure it out. Understand, you have to touch it, you have to feel it. Once you understand how easy it is, it literally, like, the process of going to shop for flights is more complicated than our platform for buying homeowners insurance. Like,
My lucky number is 7. And so 7 steps, right? And Desmond's going to say, I was part of some of the process in the beginning. Just so you know, as agents, here's what I love about this and anything we do with Gary, with John, and our team. They're asking for our feedback. Share it, right? In the beginning, Desmond will tell you, it was like 47 steps. It's too long, right? Agents are done paying attention to that, right? But if agents are, so are clients. We need to make life easy. And just so you know, the reason for these calls too is say, how do we make it better for you? Better for you. How do you save money for your clients and you? It's all about you. And that's what Kimberlee's done. And I love it. And just so you know, I might want to be in Boston. I'm going to figure out how to recruit her to bring her to my world, because she is making it happen, right? Don't tell your team leader I said that. But anyway, though, seriously, and one thing I would say about first-time home buyers, 20% of your payment is taxes and insurance, right? Most first-time home buyers and a lot of people don't even know that because they escrow the number. That's one of those numbers in my mind, insurance, that's a hidden number. You know what your mortgage payment is because your mortgage broker's laying it all out for you, right? You're going to Keller Mortgage and they're laying it all out for you. But insurance, that's one of those kind of hidden numbers I feel like sometimes. Well, boom, our client can see it and it's connected and it's really easy. So start having those stats. And here's what you can say. My friend Mike at Keller Williams, he helped this client save $743 in 1 year, which equals $24,000 in 30-year payment. That's a stat, right? That's a script. And that is, you know what? Everyone knows a Mike, right? There's a lot of them, right? So you just happen to know me, but paying it forward, right? That's a way to do that because that makes it real and that's personable. And that's not saying, hey, well, you want to buy, sell, or invest in a home. We have that script, right? This is a good way to make, and Kimberlee talked about this and I love it. It's building a relationship, but coming from contribution and helping somebody. During COVID and a pandemic, there's 4 million people on forbearance right now from their mortgages. What if you can actually have someone save and stay in their home by bringing their payment down, by providing an opportunity? This is a great way to do that.
Yeah. Now, so Mike, let me just take a step back here for a second. How would you go about, and how does your team, what are some of the ways that you're getting that message out to your database? Because obviously that's the first thing, right? The database, biggest database wins. But what are you doing, and what are you doing to get that message out to your clients, your consumers, your communities today?
And just so you know, back to just do it. Don't take yourself too seriously. When COVID hit, I said, you know what? How do we communicate to all of our clients? Me as the CEO, as a person, and say, I'm coming from contribution and I want to help you. I use slide dial or slide broadcast. and I recorded one voicemail. And I said, obviously, clients, we're thinking about you. I know it's a tough time. If you have problems right now where you can't get food to your door, or you have fence problems and you need someone to paint your fence, you need food dropped off at your door, you need clothing, whatever it is, let us help you. And I said, on average, Americans spend $243 a month on subscriptions. I would look at that number and make sure that that number is right for you and cut everything you can until your kid goes, hey, I need my Netflix back, right? You're going to save money there. We want to help you do that. We have some other avenues to do that. So for instance, we had a client, we helped save $743 on their insurance in a year. We'd love to be able to help you do that. Just reach out to us at 616-HOME and we'll help you. Thanks for being a great client and we love you. And it was something like that. Is that a hard script? That's coming from the heart. That's who I am. And you know what? We had clients reach back out saying, hey, I don't need any food right now, but do you know someone that does? Let us help bring food for them, right? Or, hey,
Right.
I have extra cash right now. And then it started into, we started a Facebook group, which is Give Back NWA. And NWA is not the rap group. That's Northwest Arkansas, it stands for, right? And what we did is we started delivering pizza to our nurses. We gathered funds. Think GoFundMe, right? People said, hey, I don't have a lot of money, but I have $7, $10. We created Venmos for those companies, right? And we got pizzas and we got stuff delivered, and that's what we're continuing to do. Right now, just yesterday, what do people need? A lot of unemployment right now. So if you're a business person in your community, you're finding out about jobs, not only in your own teams and businesses, but in other companies. They're going, hey, we're thinking about moving there. Well, great. Who's doing your hiring? I post on this Facebook page and I say, hey, 3 new jobs came available. Go ahead and send your resumes. We're providing jobs for people. Did that take a lot of time for me to do? No, it was a screenshot of a picture and I posted in the group, right? I'm paying it forward, right?
Yeah. I just want to take a moment to pause and kind of make sure that everybody, and kind of reiterate the same point. Like, you're reaching out to people who didn't say that they're interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Is that correct?
100%. We might have closed someone yesterday. They go in our database and we drop the voicemail to them, right?
Exactly. So the reason why, so Gary says, right, 10% of our database will do a transaction every single year. What about the other 90%? Reconnecting with that 90% and staying in front of them, it goes back to the same thing we were talking about with Kimberlee, right? So if we keep getting in front of these people, even if they just did a transaction with us yesterday, we're still reconnecting with those people. We're still helping them save, because you never know what's going to happen in their situation. You absolutely have no idea. They could end up, I've had clients, I have not been in the business for decades, and I've had plenty of clients that owned a house for 6 to 8 months. Their situation changed. I had a client, I sold them a house, and a week later, the husband got relocated. A week later. And so they had to resell the house, and they ended up renting it for a little while, and then they resold the house. You have no idea what the circumstances are going to be, and you're leading with value. Mike, I saw that you were involved in Make-A-Wish, and obviously you mentioned a lot of the charities that you're involved with or have started yourself. This is a huge opportunity for you guys in your business to come up with some way to give back and also help your clients, and ultimately in the end, help yourself by getting more business.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you're a big team like I am, how do you add value to your agents and to your team members all the time? A lot of times people forget about operations staff, TC, and all those people. This is one way to say, hey, go ahead and run it on your own house. So our director of marketing, she saved $500 on an investment property that she purchased, right? You're adding value and you're adding stickiness. Don't only think about this as helping a client. How do you help your team members, the people in your market center? If you're a team leader listening, how do you add value? And you know what? A recruit. What if you sent a message, a voicemail to all your recruits and saying, hey, just thinking about you, great coffee we had together. I thought you would really love this product. How do you save some money and maybe us work together? Go ahead and run it on your own house. See, that's not us saying, hey, can I have an appointment to recruit you? That's us adding value to save money, right? Don't put it in a box, right?
They're going to remember you.
100%.
Yeah.
That's stickiness. Yeah, that's our culture, right? And I think that's, if you think about why Gary continues to create this, and this is not the last thing, right? But if you look at it, you look at the early adopters and you talk about it too, all right? They're winning at a high level because their team knows how to talk about it. They know how the lead flow works, and they know how to help clients at a big way. if you look, and Gary says this, the commission's going to continue to get constrained. I love it. Just a fun fact. If people right now say they plan their 2021 business on 3% or 6%, they're lying to themselves, right? You want to go to the board or you want to go to your market center. What's our real average? Most of them are about 2.76. That's a business person, right? That's doing math. So if that commission continues to get constrained, how do you have ways to help clients in different ways where you increase the transaction? And that's what you need to think about. So if your 2021 goal is to make twice as much money, you might have to do 130% more deals, right? So how do you do that? Add value to clients and have clients say, oh, Kimberlee saved me $5,000 on my insurance over 5 years. Have your number, right? As we know, most people live in a home 7 times throughout their life. Divide that out, the average age is 80, right? Figure out what that number is, and that could be a really good pivotal savings point for you.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely huge. You touched on recruits. I want to point out that even beyond just team leaders, while this is a fantastic tool that you can utilize, I want to shout out to Jay Cermak and his, he's got a fantastic document where he outlines literally every single one of the channels and charities and organizations that exist in the KW world. It is a fantastic tool to just talk about what other brokerage has this. What other brokerage is giving back to their agents? And that's what this is, right? Gary created this to give back to his agents and pass through. Keller Mortgage isn't out to make a huge profit. Keller Covered isn't out to make a huge profit. It's here to provide value. So if you're an agent listening to this, you're not a team leader, this is still a great tool to talk to your co-brokes with, right? You mentioned that it's a great way for a team leader to say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Agent at a co-broke, this is a great tool for you to save money, right? We can do the same thing as agents. We can help them. It's a great way to build your downline. But you're also, just the bottom line is you're helping other agents, helping other people in your community, in my community, save on their homeowner's insurance and ultimately put more money back in their pocket. Just think about all the good that money can do.
And you look at lead gen, maybe someone picks their 4th day of the week or whatever is coming from contribution. Just so you know, sometimes in this business, it's emotional, it's people, right? It's awesome, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but you could be down, right? And maybe you're lead generating for listings. What a good way to weave in something different, right? And I say this business is like a mutual fund. Just so you know, it's about, Kimberlee mentioned it, I love it, it's about relationships, right? If you're building a relationship with someone and you ask really good questions and they're like, tell me more about that insurance thing. And you're like, okay, tell me a little bit more. And they're like, we're looking to buy an Airbnb or a townhouse or something for our kids going to college and we're looking at a different state, right? Those are things we're asking deeper questions, right? And you're building your business like a mutual fund. It isn't only about transactions every day, right? And you mentioned it's about downline, right? This come from contributions. You're looking at referrals. Are you building your business that way? And what a great tool that you're not asking to sell something. All I'm saying is, here you go, here's savings, right? And remember, on average, what Desmond said, 30%. That's a really easy number to remember, right? I do that when I speak and I talk, right? Usually it's 5, right? But you can just do that, 3, and use a visual, right? Everything's Zoom now, right? Use a visual, bring them in, talk to them, right? Show those savings. To me, 24,000. Maybe you pick 3 items that cost 24,000, right? It's the purses that Desmond buys. So you would have the purse, right, that Desmond buys. No, but all joking aside, that's a Camry, right? What if you said, oh, do you have children? And they're like, yes, they're about to start driving. Well, great. With the savings that I can help you do, we can buy a Camry. What kind of conversation is that, right? That's helpful and that's real and that's to the heart.
Yeah, it's emotional. Kimberlee, I want to take a second. We've talked about quite a bit here. I just want to bring you back in. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Obviously, Mike threw out lots of great tidbits for us to work with and implement into our business. Was there anything you wanted to add to that?
I think what I would just add is what I said already is like, just try it out. I think that we get so hesitant as agents because we have our partners, like, I was so hesitant to use Keller Covered, Keller Mortgage, because I had my lender that I worked so closely with, and we get so hung up on that. But at the end of the day, it's about our clients and giving them the best experience possible. Like, just try it out before you kind of close your mindset off to it.
I really do love that. Just do it. It's just like
I
Nike.
just add real fast, Kevin, if I may.
Yeah.
So what she's saying, and hopefully everyone's hearing, is you're meeting the client where they are. There's always going to be those clients that say, you know what, I need to look at my insurance guy in the face. That's great, right? Just so you know, there's enough market share, there's enough business that we can help people. As agents, keeping us at the center, as Gary said, help your client, right? And if you do that the right way, more times than another, they're going to go, wait a minute, what are the savings, right? And the opportunity. Some are still going to go, you know what? I have Billy that I've had for 20 years. That's fantastic. And that's great. You know, if Billy's really good, obviously there's a way to recruit him over and bring him to the family, right? But those are things to think about, is meet your client where they are. And most people, from the insurance perspective, don't really care right now during the pandemic. They're not meeting them anyway, right? So this is a really good opportunity to weave this into your team, into what you're doing for your business, into your touch programs. What a great way to win.
Yeah. I love that you say that, because Gary, I'm sure many of us have heard Gary say, who has called during this time, who has actually reached out to you and called you?
Mm-hmm.
Has your financial advisor called you? Has your insurance provider called you? Has your dentist called you? We're out here taking time out of our busy days to make care calls and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I've got a way that you could potentially save $1,200 or $700 a year on your homeowner's insurance policy, or potentially $24,000 of the remainder of your mortgage. That's real money. That's real value that we're bringing to them. So,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry
to interrupt, but that's acting as a true fiduciary to our clients too. And that gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah, no, that's what we're here. I'll use even Gary and Jason's words. It keeps us in the center of the transaction. And that's really the culmination of everything that's going on, that's happened in the last 48 hours with the creation of KWX. And what Keller Williams stands for is to have all of these different verticals that truly keep you, the agents, in the center of the transaction. And all of these different tools are really just to focus back on what we do best, and that's caring for our clients. That's it. Desmond.
Well, the one thing I'd also say, there's a lot of companies out there that they're not about the realtors. They're about making just the dollars. And our company is about what helps us be better, what helps us build our business to that next level. And that never stops. That started in 1983 and it's moving forward. And that's what's exciting by these new changes, that just tells the story that's going to continue to benefit us that are out in the field every day.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. So Kimberlee, Mike, I cannot thank you guys both enough. Really, really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to come out here and share some knowledge with everyone who tuned in. I've got a couple quick housekeeping items I just want to let you guys know. We will be inviting everyone. First off, you're going to get a recording of this video if you are on our mailing list. If you're here, you are now on our mailing list. Our next webinar is November 4th. Like I said before, we're going to be talking about smart plans. That's going to come from both perspectives of how we can utilize. We've created smart plans for you, the agents, and the team leaders and leadership, ways that we can get agents to help share this message with their consumers. And also, if you're in leadership, we're going to talk about some strategies to help you promote this to your agents inside your market center. And honestly, I want to say that is also for everybody. It's not just for team leaders. I talked about this before. There's a great opportunity to use these tools to build your downline. Linda McKissick makes hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit share, I think, a month. Why can't you? There's no reason why you can't help grow this fantastic organization. We've got the best tools on the planet. I cannot stop saying enough good things about Keller Williams. So please tune in 10-4 or 11-4. We're going to be talking about smart plans. We'll have some more fantastic agents imparting their wisdom. Thanks, everyone. The big takeaway I want to end on is the 3 Ps: policy, plan, promote. We talked about getting a policy. We talked about having a plan, whether that's a marketing plan, whether that's a smart plan we're going to talk about next month, and promoting this. Sharing this on Facebook, sharing this on lots of different platforms. There's tons of different ways to get the message out. And last but not least, please join our Facebook group. We are Keller Covered Mastermind. You can find us on there. I'll be sure to add you. You're going to see videos from here. You're going to see lots of previous videos from previous webinars, lots of great content. We want to hear from you. I think Kimberlee touched on this before. We need your feedback. Actually, both of you guys mentioned this. We need your feedback. Gary needs the feedback. Most importantly, we are a company built by agents for agents. We need your feedback. It's what's going to allow us to continue to grow and build and get better and better every single day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in November.